Forgiveness. It's one of the most complicated steps of affair recovery. We assume it's important. Most people want it. Some try to force it. But forgiveness can be deeply misunderstood. When we rush through it, or try to fake it, or use it as leverage, it fails to be real healing. Sometimes, forgiveness just doesn't seem to be working. In this two-part series, I'm walking through 5 different kinds of forgiveness. In this episode, we'll look at 3 of them: premature forgiveness, fake forgiveness, and bartered forgiveness. These are all common. They're very human attempts at forgiveness, but they often leave couples stuck. To help bring these ideas to life, you'll hear some short scenes, audio sketches, that illustrate what each kind of forgiveness can sound like in a relationship. I'm glad you're listening in. I'm Tim Tedder, and I want to welcome you to the Affair Recovery Room.
Welcome to the Recovery Room, a podcast presented by affairhealing.com.
In this healing place, in this healing place.
When it comes to affair recovery, forgiveness is usually part of the conversation early on. But one of the first traps I see couples fall into is what I call premature forgiveness. Premature forgiveness happens when the betrayed partner says the words, "I forgive you," before they've even had a chance to understand the depth of what's happened. It's not malicious. Often it comes from a place of desperation. They want to hold things together. They want to stop the bleeding, and sometimes they even feel like it's what they're supposed to do. Forgiveness spoken too soon doesn't heal the wound. It just hides it. I remember being in grade school and punched out of the blue by the neighborhood bully, and all I could think of was my Sunday school lesson of turn the other cheek and love your enemies. So somehow I mumbled, "I forgive you." And I don't know, I thought that would change something. Maybe God would protect me or the bully would feel ashamed. Instead, he hit me again. Now, what I offered really wasn't forgiveness. It was self-defense disguised as virtue. And it's exactly what premature forgiveness sometimes looks like in a marriage.
Okay. Just tell me, what are you saying?
Those texts, they're real. I mean, it went on for about 4 months, but it's over. I swear, it's over.
Right. Well,
Come on, babe. Things will be better, I swear. If we can just move on from this. You forgive me?
I forgive you.
There, see? We're gonna be okay.
I don't feel okay.
That's what premature forgiveness can sound like. A quick, pressured, "I forgive you," before the betrayed partner has even caught their breath. And here's the problem. When you forgive too quickly, you don't erase the hurt. You just kind of bury it alive. And buried pain doesn't go away. It comes out later, often with even more force. I've worked with plenty of clients who declared forgiveness right after discovery. I remember one couple I met with. It'd been 3 days since she discovered her husband's affair. And in our first meeting, she told me right up front, "Listen, I've already forgiven him. We just need to figure out how to move forward from here." And I know when I heard that, she was going to be surprised by the unprocessed pain that would eventually come up. And it did. It did in less than a week. She was confused. "I've already forgiven this. Why am I feeling so much anger, confusion?" But that's what happens. Days or weeks later, these clients ask me, "Why do I feel worse now? I thought I forgave them." The truth is, they skipped over the pain. They skipped over the grief. They skipped over understanding. And forgiveness without honesty isn't forgiveness at all. It's just denial dressed up in spiritual or relational language. And experts affirm this too. Forgiveness isn't supposed to be immediate, especially in trauma situations. If you try to forgive before you've had time to process, your nervous system will keep reminding you something is still wrong. That's sometimes why betrayed partners will find themselves obsessing over details or getting triggered even after they've, quote, forgiven. So what's the alternative? Well, forgiveness doesn't have to be rushed. It isn't something you owe your partner immediately after discovery. It's not a checkbox to prove that you're a better person. Forgiveness is something you move toward after you've named the hurt, after you've been heard, after you've allowed yourself to feel the pain and to grieve what was lost. Forgiving a betrayal, it takes time. If you rush it, you'll almost certainly have to backtrack later, either to revisit your pain or admit that your forgiveness wasn't real in the first place. So if you're the betrayed partner, here's what I'd tell you. Don't pressure yourself to forgive right away. Focus instead on being honest about your hurt. Let yourself feel it, name it, talk about it. Forgiveness that grows out of truth, that's the forgiveness that will last. Forgiveness that skips over the pain, that's the forgiveness that will eventually crumble. If premature forgiveness is forgiveness that comes too soon, fake forgiveness is forgiveness that never really comes at all, but it pretends to. Fake forgiveness says the words, or at least plays the part, but underneath it all, the resentment is still simmering. The hurt is never fully acknowledged, so it has nowhere to go. Instead, it leaks out sideways in passive-aggressive comments, cold silences, subtle punishments. On the surface, fake forgiveness looks peaceful, but peace without honesty is just pretense, and pretense always comes at a cost.
Why are you being so quiet?
You know why.
It was a joke.
It wasn't just a joke. You made me look like an idiot in front of our friends.
You take things too seriously.
No, you've been doing this ever since... You know what?
Since you cheated, you mean?
I thought we worked through it. You said you forgave me.
I did.
Then why do you keep doing these things that hurt me? Every time we're out, you find some way to put me down.
Oh, come on. I was just having fun.
Yeah, I know.
That's what fake forgiveness can sound like. The words and attitudes kind of say, it's fine, everything's fine, I'm okay, but the behavior says otherwise. In my experience, fake forgiveness is usually offered by people who think it's their duty, that good spouses, good Christians, good people should just forgive and move on. I've sat with people who swore they forgave, but years later, their bodies told a different story. Anxiety, depression, bitterness that bubbled up in unpredictable ways. It wasn't that they were weak. It was that they'd try to heal without cleaning out the wound first. True forgiveness is almost always a process. And small offenses, like small cuts, can heal quickly. But a major wound, like betrayal, that doesn't close overnight. Forgiveness for betrayal usually has to be reaffirmed, revisited, rebuilt over time. Here's how to tell if you might be stuck in fake forgiveness. If you find yourself minimizing your hurt, telling yourself it wasn't that bad, but still feeling heavy inside. If you've said, I forgive you, but can't stop replaying the offense in your head and feeling the unfairness and injustice of it all. If you're biting your tongue in arguments, but secretly wanting to lash out with the affair as ammunition. If that's you, Doesn't mean you're a failure. It means you need to step back, give yourself permission to be honest. Forgiveness that's real can only happen after pain has been named, acknowledged, and heard. Experts agree. Forgiveness that skips acknowledgement leaves couples stuck. Gottman calls it atonement and attunement. In other words, there has to be remorse from the betrayer and recognition of the betrayed partner's pain before forgiveness has full power. We're going to talk more about that in the next episode. But without it, all you have is a smile covering clenched teeth. So if you recognize yourself in that sketch, I'd encourage you to pause. Don't settle for fake forgiveness. Get honest about your hurt. Find ways to express it. Maybe in counseling, in a safe conversation, maybe even writing in a journal. In the soil of truth, real forgiveness can grow. In the soil of hidden resentment, the best you can do is stick in some fake forgiveness and call it real. Another way forgiveness gets distorted is what I call bartered forgiveness. This kind of forgiveness, it's not rushed like premature forgiveness, and it's not hidden like fake forgiveness. Instead, it comes with conditions. I'll forgive you, but only as long as you don't upset me or step out of line. If you do step out of line, I'll remind you of what you did. Bartered forgiveness uses the past as leverage. The betrayal becomes a bargaining chip. It's not forgiveness, it's power.
Hey, Jess, can you come here a sec?
What now?
Look, these charges, almost $1,000 on clothes last month.
Let me see. It's not all clothes. I bought some lamps for Zoe's room, too.
Listen, we talked about this. We can't afford it. I mean, you know how much
At least I never cheated on you.
Jess, that was almost 4 years ago. I mean, I've done everything you asked. Counseling, full transparency. What else do you want from me?
I want you to never forget what you did. Okay, I forgave you. That doesn't mean I'm not going to remind you. You think we can go back to an equal playing field? Never. The worst I'll ever do will never be as bad as what you did to me.
That's an example of bartered forgiveness. The words say, I forgave you, but the affair is always hanging in the air like a weapon, ready to be unsheathed. And here's the truth. Bartered forgiveness may feel powerful in the moment, but it destroys intimacy in the long run. When one partner holds permanent authority over the other, there's no way to build mutual trust and intimacy. I've worked with couples where the affair happened years ago, but the injured partner still brings it up every time there's a conflict. Even when the unfaithful spouse has shown consistent remorse and transparency, the relationship stays stuck. Why? Because forgiveness isn't really forgiveness. It's conditional. Now, let me be clear. Wanting reassurance after betrayal, that's normal. Needing accountability, that's okay. But dragging the past into every disagreement isn't accountability, it's control. And control may win arguments, but it won't heal a marriage. What makes bartered forgiveness so tricky is that it masquerades as justice. The betrayed spouse thinks, I'll keep this wound open so you don't hurt me again. Every time you see it, it will be a reminder to you. But holding power this way actually prevents the very healing they long for. Here's what I'd tell anyone who sees themselves in this. If the affair is truly over and your partner has shown genuine remorse, you can't keep dragging the past into the present. You have to leave it there. Forgiveness means deciding not to use the betrayal as leverage anymore. That doesn't mean you forget. Doesn't mean you never feel hurt again. It means you choose not to weaponize the past every time you want to regain control. You know what affair healing is? It's building a new story. You can't relive the old story, and you can't build a new one if you keep rehashing the old. Bartered forgiveness locks you in yesterday. Real forgiveness, even if it takes years to grow, makes room for tomorrow. So, we've looked at 3 kinds of forgiveness that miss the mark: premature forgiveness, fake forgiveness, bartered forgiveness. Each one is understandable, each one is human, but none of them lead to real healing. In the next episode, we're going to look at what true forgiveness actually looks like. We'll talk about 2 healthier forms of forgiveness: decisional forgiveness and full forgiveness. One is about choosing to let go of resentment and payback. The other is about reaching the kind of emotional release that brings a more complete freedom. Forgiveness can sometimes be challenging, but it's worth the effort. It's worth the journey. And I hope you'll keep walking it with me. Thanks for joining me in the recovery room.